post-mass resignation episode, the National People's Party Nagaland unit calls the rebel outgoers rotten apples besides calling the entire move unconstitutional. Addressing media in Dimapur, NPPP says the mass resignation would strengthen the party as incapable and undisciplined workers have left the party. Official inauguration of newly formed district Chumukedima held on Wednesday at Deputy Commissioner's office in Chumukedima. Attending the program as chief guest, Chief Minister Nipirio hails Chumukedima as a land of opportunities which will soon become an intellectual hub. Suspense over Maharashtra political crisis continues as both Uddhav Thackeray camp and Eknath Shinde camp show no sign of backing down. Supreme Court hears plea of MVA against Thursday's floor test called by Maharashtra governor. Funeral of Kanhaiya Lal, the tailor from Rajasthan's Udaipur, beheaded by two men on Tuesday, held in presence of large crowd. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Home Affairs (MHA) directed National Investigation Agency to take over the investigation of the brutal murder. A move that is being speculated as shifting towards a higher GST regime. The GST Council in its 47th meet in Chandigarh decides to bring more items under its ambit that may affect the pocket of the command man. Prepacked and labelled food items except frozen like meat, fish, curd, paneer and honey to attract a 5% GST. With Vice President Venkaiah Naidu's term coming to an end on August 10, the Election Commission on Wednesday announces the schedule of the vice presidential election. If required, the polling to take place on August 6, with last date for nomination set till July 19. Hello viewers, welcome to English Primetime Bulletin. I'm Asan. Let's have a look at the news in detail. Following a mass resignation of a section of party workers from party on Tuesday, the National People's Party Nagaland State Unit expressed shock over the whole episode besides calling it unconstitutional. NPP also addressed media on Wednesday on the development besides issuing a statement in response to some handful and dissident members of the party tendering a mass resignation at a press conference in Dimapur, alleging loss of faith on its state unit president Andrew Ahoto Sema. In a clarification issued just hours after the development, the party said that those who have left the party don't even comprise of 2% of total party strength, just contrary to the claim of outgoers that they constitute 80% to total strength. Further, in a harsh manner, the NPP called the group as dissident and rotten apples who would have in any case faced a suspension for carrying out numerous anti-party activities in past few months. In the same statement, the party said that their sole objective was to topple the leadership due to their ulterior and selfish designs. While the statement also specified that some of the leaders who tendered their resignations were already relieved from their duties on roles on account being incapable to handle the responsibility and contribute towards party's growth. It also mentioned that it is such a positive win-win situation for NPP party and has rather come as a great sigh of relief that such dissident, wayward and undisciplined members of the party have sidelined themselves and resigned en masse. NPP also stated that it is a very welcome sign for the party and it can look forward with greater anticipation for further strengthening the party at all levels under the dynamic and able leadership of the present parent body leaders led by State President Dr. Andrew Ahoto Sema.
But they took the wrong stepping. But it is to be made sure that what they claim of 80%, it's a big joke, I will say that. I mean, they didn't have any other figure to be thinking about, because we have all the rank and file of every, in principle, in records, in signature, we know all the members across our state. So what they tall claim that they make is actually quite a mockery on themselves. So if they went to walk out, they could have walked out in a peaceful manner, but also the performance was very bad. In fact, Mr. Lima, who was claiming a very big high tall about his being the National General Secretary or the Secretary Organization, he did not do any work actually when he was in our time, not defaming anybody, but in actual, because I was then still the president and he was my secretary. So I know what work he has and what capacity he has. So he was given in charge of Karbi Along, but Karbi Along miserably failed under him. Not even one MLA came out, and this time also the Autonomous Council, not even one member came under his leadership, and he was given the in charge over there. So that really proved that what kind of leadership dynamism that he was following up. So we could see everything, and also there were other members who have been actually poisoning.
The inauguration of the newly formed district Chumukedima has been held on Wednesday at Deputy Commissioner's office in Chumukedima. Notably, Chief Minister Nipuryo graced the program as the chief guest, while the welcome address was given by Chumukedima Deputy Commissioner Abhinav Shivam. Furthermore, Chief Minister Rio, while addressing the gathering as the chief guest, stated that it's a great pleasure to inaugurate Chumukedima as the 16th district of Nagaland, while asserted that Chumukedima is a land of opportunity. Rio further mentioned that Chumukedima will soon become an intellectual hub, while he also stressed on saying that unity among people is very needed to bring development in the state. It may also be mentioned that several other dignitaries and officials, including advisors, sericulture, excise and minority affairs, Zalio Rio, PhD Minister Jacob Jimomi, MLA Azeto Jimomi, Commissioner of Nagaland Rovilatio Moore, Chakroma Public Organization, Western Simi Hoho and Village Council Chairman also attended the program.
Chumukedima, a historical, and also it is the gateway to the Naga Hills in the past, and it is continuing to be the gateway, providing numerous opportunities to the people. Dimapur remains our main town, and Nagaland, this Dimapur remains a miniature of India, because it is housing not only the Naga tribes but all the nationalities in Dimapur.
Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is set to attend the Nagaland Investment Conclave 2022 scheduled on July 4 and 5. Chief Secretary J. Alam informed about the arrival while addressing a meeting of administrative head of departments and head of department on Tuesday. Notably, Corporate Social Responsibility Conclave is set to be first of its kind in Nagaland, being organized by Investment and Development Authority, upon which IDAN CEO Alam Tumshi sought cooperation and support from the state government officers for the success of the program. It may be noted that the event will witness business-to-business and business-to-government interactions and bankers' conclave as well. Many government schools under the Agnaka block are said to be functioning without adequate facilities and teachers. Agnaka Area Students Union, while undertaking educational tour from June 22nd to 27th, visited all 37 villages and pointed out the loopholes. The union found out that many school infrastructures were either damaged or worn out since the buildings were constructed decades ago. In addition, some schools were managing without the main subject teacher. The union, while expressing grief, urged the government to provide necessary requirements in every school at the earliest. The union also further warned that if the government delays response, then the matters would soon become considerably worse and it will jeopardize the future of the students. Furthermore, the union is set to soon write a letter of memorandum to the concerned department for necessary action. In view of the upcoming presidential elections of India, which is scheduled on July 18, the Nagaland Legislative Assembly Secretariat has informed that any member who opts to cast his vote in Delhi or other state due to unavoidable circumstances to obtain the request Form A/B from the Assistant Returning Officers from June 29 onwards. The NLA Secretariat further informed that the form must be submitted on or before July 4, 2022. Meanwhile, it also stated that either of the options once availed will be final and no change of such choice will be allowed or entertained by the Commission thereafter. Janata Dal United National President Rajiv Ranjan alias Lalan Singh and his colleagues arrived in Nagaland today. The JNTU delegation was welcomed by JDU Nagaland at Dimapur Airport. Upon their arrival, President Rajiv Ranjan, while speaking to Nagaland TV, made a clear statement that they did not come to Nagaland with any political motive, but for peace and to honor and pay tribute to Jaya Prakash Narayan. President stated that Jaya Prakash Narayan was committed to bringing long-lasting peace and solution in Nagaland. JNTU President Nagaland and Northeast General Secretary Senchumo NSN Lota also stated that the delegation had come to take Jaya Prakash Narayan's vision and mission ahead. Lota further mentioned that Jaya Prakash Narayana was one of the prominent members that contributed immensely in facilitating ceasefire and peace in Nagaland in the 1960s. The delegates will visit at Fizo's grave to pay their respect and also meet and interact with civil societies organizations. The delegates, upon their return to Delhi, will discuss with the Center for Naga Political Solution.
Purpose is not any political, but just we have come to assess the peace process. What's the present status of the peace process in Nagaland? Because the Nagaland needs peace and we are for the peace of Nagaland. We want peace in Nagaland. This Nagaland is disturbed since long and now it's time where the Nagaland needs peace, and we will assess the situation here. We will assess the points suggested by Loknayak Jayaprakash Narayan ji in 1960s to the government of India. What is the present position of that peace process?
Aro amakan edu delegation aha to edu Jayaprakash Narayan to amakan party laga ideologue ase, amakan laga party founder ase. Aro tai Nagaland eman dur de ahigena tai Naga garne eman tuk hoigena edu Naga solution to chili hobo lage. Aro Naga khosa utha angry Naga border de thakele India garne biya hobo. Edu garne chili bi solution tibu lage. 1960s e pale de ekdam zor bara edu India logo de goise. Edu garne amakan to edu tai ki honor koribole, tai ki tribute dibole edu delegation do ahai ase. Aro amakan civil society bi log pabo aro yate laga peace process to kinega cha ase edu bi.
The District Health Society of Zinhaboto on Monday launched intensified diarrhea control fortnight at New Colony Prayer Fellowship Zinhaboto and across all health units in the district. Notably, the IDCF is organized with an objective to attain zero number of child death due to diarrhea and aims to create mass awareness about the most effective and low-cost diarrhea treatment, which is a combination of oral dehydration, salt solution and zinc tablets. On the other hand, a training of trainers of Anemia Mukt Bharat Kam launching of intensified diarrhea control fortnight was conducted at the CMO conference hall in Longlang. Furthermore, various PHCs, CHCs and sub-center of Longlang district on the account of IDCF created awareness and also distributed ORS and zinc tablets. Acting on a tip-off, the Katkati police on Wednesday recovered 129.34 grams of heroin from a woman travelling in an Assam State Transport Corporation bus bearing registration number AS21C9306. Notably, the police had received intelligence input on the contraband items being transported. It is to be mentioned that the contraband was recovered from the possession of a lady named Sardar Rao, a resident of Officers Colony in Lamding of Assam. Furthermore, on the basis of her statement, a raid was conducted in Dimapur at Hotel New Kent, room number 312 and 311, led by John Das, SDBO Bokachan, along with OC Katkati and staff with the help of East Police Station, Dimapur, and recovered another 2 packets of heroin weighing 28.14 grams heroin. Meanwhile, 1 male and 2 females were arrested from the hotel. All in total, 157.48 grams of heroin has been recovered from the accused. It is worth noting that Dulon Mazumdar was previously arrested by Hochai police in drugs case. The annual Memorial Day of Captain late Nike Jakuo Kenguruse Mahavir Chakra posthumous was held at his war memorial site at Peza village under Kohima district on Tuesday. During the ceremony, wreaths were laid by Captain Genguruse's father, Nisele Kenguruse, Assam Rifle North Inspector General Major General Kaushik and other Assam Rifles officers. An eulogy was read out by an officer of the Assam Rifles, which was followed by prayer and hymns by village folks. Various school children were also invited to witness the event. A pipe band display was organized by Assam Rifles for the students and public. Notably, to mark the occasion, a tree plantation drive was organized and a COVID-19 immunization camp was also organized at Captain Late Ruse's birthplace, which was inaugurated by his father. To remove the apprehension amongst the locals on vaccination, the drive was held by Assam Rifles personnel. In order to reach out to the ex-servicemen, a grievance cell was also established at the location. The event further witnessed distribution of essential medicines and COVID relief material to ex-servicemen and the local people. Meanwhile, in an effort to encourage recruitment of local women into corps of military police, a registration drive was undertaken at the camp. The day-long event culminated with administration of vaccine to people as a tribute to Captain Genguruse. The inauguration of the thematic exhibition was held on Tuesday at a supermarket in Dimapur, which is scheduled to be concluded on July 4. Notably, a total of 20 stalls are present in the exhibition, of which 3 are from Assam, 2 from Manipur and 15 from the state. It is to be mentioned that the exhibition is sponsored by Office of the Development Commissioner, Handicrafts, Ministry of Textiles, Government of India, and is being implemented by NIPET. It may also be mentioned that Handicraft Promotion Officer HSC Kohima Hajib Chandra Roy graced the event as the guest of honor, while Chairman of National Empowerment of People through Economic Development Keve Chutso Dolo graced in as the chief guest.
Doing the government job is not the only employment. We have to create opportunity. Nagaland is a land of opportunity. We have all the things which are required. We have a natural resource. When it comes about the handicraft, we have a good wood, we have a different kinds, varieties of bamboos, cane, and those are readily available in our land. Nagaland is full of resource. We have to tap, we have to nurture, and this will create another opportunity, and we can look forward. Whatever the fabric we are getting from Nagaland, it is better than others, and especially Northeast. We have the best fabric. So when it comes about to handicraft, Northeast can.
Meanwhile, the Mon District Football Association is set to organize a 2-day trial for under 14 boys and girls under Khelo India, which is an initiative of Ministry of Sports, Government of India on 5th and 6th of July 2022 from 9 a.m. onwards at Mon Town local ground. The association has informed all interested candidates to attend and undergo the trial process. Notably, the association stated that the selection will be based on merit and performance. Meanwhile, selected candidates will be eligible to train under the supervision of the professional certified coaches with requisite technical facilities. The Indian Air Force continues to unabatedly provide relief operations across various flood-affected regions of Assam and Meghalaya over the past 6 days. Notably, a total of 517 tons of relief material has been airlifted across various flood-affected regions. According to IAF officials, it has flown more than 130 humanitarian assurance missions till now and dropped 700 tons of load in the last 5 days for Assam floods. Earlier, the Indian Air Force deployed 7 types of fixed and rotary wing aircraft in various flood-affected areas. It is worth mentioning that the overall flood situation in Assam has improved. However, over 33.03 lakh people in 28 districts still continue to remain affected due to the natural calamity. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray is all set to face floor test on Thursday. Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari has directed Assembly Secretary Rajendra Bhagwat to initiate a special session. It has been confirmed that Shiv Sena's rebel Eknath Shinde and MLAs will be travelling to Mumbai on Thursday to partake in the test. The rebel MLAs have departed for Goa on Wednesday and they are being lodged at Taj Convention. It is noteworthy that Uddhav Thackeray's government has challenged governor's move to hold floor testing. Shiv Sena Chief Sunil Prabhu has also moved the Supreme Court against the governor notice and urged that the notice was against constitution. Prabhu also demanded that the battle be fought in the apex court. it can be mentioned that the governor has directed the State Assembly Secretary to initiate a special session to test trust vote on Chief Minister Thackeray, which will begin at 11 a.m. and will be telecasted live. Yes, viewers, just for you, we will be speaking to Dibyendu Chakraborty, our senior content producer, and let's get to know more about the Maharashtra political turmoil.
Yes, Hassan, it seems that the Maharashtra political crisis is no short of a Bollywood movie now. Almost a week, we have witnessed a lot of suspense, lot of action, lot of thriller, lot of drama, and today is no different. Because as we already informed our viewers that tomorrow will be a very crucial day for the whole political scenario, as Bhagat Singh Koshiyari has asked Uddhav Thackeray government to go to the floor to prove their majority, which seems very unlikely. And as the move was taken by the governor today, the Sena camp, Shiv Sena camp, the camp of Uddhav Thackeray, they approached Supreme Court, where currently the Supreme Court is hearing the plea that was filed by the Shiv Sena, challenging Governor Bhagat Singh Koshiyari's direction to hold the floor test on Thursday. That is what currently the proceedings are going on in Supreme Court. However, I think somehow the Uddhav Thackeray camp or the Chief Minister himself is sure that he may not prove majority tomorrow. He might have to go to the floor to show his majority, and that's why he, in a cabinet meeting that just concluded a while ago, where his allies from NCP and Congress also were present in the cabinet meeting, Uddhav Thackeray gave an emotional message. In his meeting, cabinet meeting, he said that his own political people, own party from his own people, they are from his own party, that is Shiv Sena, targeting or indicating the Eknath Shinde camp. He said that those people have betrayed him, and that's what, was not unexpected. He said that, he got support from Congress, he got support from NCP, but unfortunately, he didn't get the support of his own party. And that's what, on his behalf, the NCP leader and Maharashtra Minister Jayant Patil, he briefed after the cabinet meeting was concluded. So, his emotional appeal or emotional statement that has came during this cabinet meeting indicates that somehow he has the belief that this could be his last final meeting as a CM of Maharashtra, as tomorrow might be the day where he will or his government will fall if the floor test goes on and the Supreme Court doesn't intervene and it goes with the direction of the governor, and accordingly the floor test held tomorrow. So that has been the situation, and somehow we can say that he has conceded the defeat. That what anybody can assume from his statement that he has given in the cabinet meeting. Moreover, however, in this cabinet meeting, two prior decisions were taken that his government has approved the renaming of the Aurangabad town to Sambhajinagar. He has another move in this cabinet meeting that they have decided that they will rename the Navi Mumbai airport's name now to DB Patil International Airport. Another move that has been come out in this meeting that Osmanabad, another city of Maharashtra or the town of Maharashtra, will now be known as Dharashiv. I have already said the major decisions taking as far as renaming is concerned. First, Aurangabad will be now named as Sambhajinagar. Osmanabad will be now called as Dharashiv. And in another move, the Navi Mumbai airport will be now called as DB Patil International Airport. So these were some major decisions that were taken during the cabinet meeting. However, as far as Uddhav Thackeray's statements are now coming out, he has conceded somehow his defeat. That's what he has said. He has thanked his allies, NCP and Congress, that they have supported him during this 2.5 years regime, during the difficult phase of COVID when Uddhav was at helm of Maharashtra. Although his opposition leaders or rivals, I beg your pardon, BJP, often targeted and highlighted that Uddhav has failed miserably to tackle the COVID situation. However, he somehow sustained, he has somehow managed to overcome those phases. But however, in this recent turn of events, he said that he has been betrayed by his own party MLAs. As far as Guwahati scenario is concerned, we have already informed that Eknath Shinde camp, who camped in Guwahati for almost a week, today They are now heading to Goa. They will reach Goa. They will stay overnight in Goa. They will wait for the decision what the Supreme Court gives, whether in their favor, whether they will appear in the floor test tomorrow or not. Accordingly, they will plan their next move. However, they're heading to Goa right now, and if required, if the floor test happens tomorrow, then tomorrow we might see in the morning hours, they might fly down to Mumbai as well to take part in the floor test. And as we all know, the number games now are not in favor of Shiv Sena, which is only, as per the calculation, only 16 MLAs are now supporting Uddhav Thackeray, whereas 39 MLAs are with Shinde. And if they get the adequate support of BJP, which is currently the largest party in Maharashtra with 106 members, so that means if they vote against Uddhav Thackeray, then there is no doubt that tomorrow we would expect, or we will see the downfall of Uddhav Thackeray government tomorrow. He must, step down. Or another move that we can anticipate is if he feels the Supreme Court order goes against the Uddhav Thackeray camp, then prior to going to the floor test, he might resign. Not to face the floor test, he might resign tonight as well. So coming 1 or 2 hours is very crucial. Once the Supreme Court hearing or the verdict comes out, we might see Uddhav Thackeray resigning from his post tonight as well. Asan.
Okay, Dibyendu, can you also tell our viewers, since floor test is a very technical term in political language, can you please tell our viewers the meaning or the explanation of floor test in simple language? And also, what will happen to this special session if the test trust vote on Chief Minister Thackeray fails?
Well, as far as the technical terms are concerned, as far as the democracy is concerned, the floor test is a situation. It's basically called an emergency situation when the ruling coalition government, are a threat on some certain conditions. If there are some of the ruling MLAs or party members, MLAs defect from the party, and if they are more than 2/3, then anti-defection law also are not into effect. And if in case of alliance government, when the ally or other parties who are in coalition with the government withdraws their support, that results the government into minority, and at that time, the governor, who is the head of the state, asks the government to prove their majority on floor, and during the floor test, every MLA votes whether in favor or against the ruling government. So on that basis, whatever the results comes out, that decides the fate of the government. In simple, that is how a floor test is done. And in case, as I said, on certain conditions, when somebody withdraws the support from the government or the allies broke the partnership or the coalition, in that scenario, the floor test is done. Here also, since 39 MLAs are now with Eknath Shinde, and they are not willing to continue with the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government, which is now a coalition of Shiv Sena, NCP and Congress. If 39 MLAs of Shiv Sena goes out, that doesn't apply the anti-defection law also. So if they join the rival camp, or they do not join, want to continue with the MVA government, the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government, in that case, that's why on that ground, Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari has asked Uddhav Thackeray to prove his majority in the floor. However, as I said, if he feels that he will not pass the floor test tomorrow, then there is every possibility that tonight Uddhav Thackeray may resign. And whatever statement that he has given in his cabinet meeting, emotional appeal, he's thanked his coalition, NCP, Congress, that indicates that he already has considered defeat, and most likely, if he doesn't want to face the embarrassment tomorrow, he might step down tonight as well, Asan. That is what, the situation are indicating right now.
Okay. So also, Dibyendu, I would like to know, since there are lots of political leaders who have been protesting and who have been asking that this floor test to be done in Apex Court, I want to know if the governor who has directed the State Assembly Secretary to initiate this special session to test trust vote on Chief Minister Thackeray, is it still going to be done in this special secretary office, or will it be shifted to Apex Court?
As I said, it is not about the secretary, as he has got the direction from the governor itself. As per the Constitution of India, when it's a state affair, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, so head of the state being the governor will obviously have the power, and as the opposition also, sometimes gives some motion, they appeal to the governor to go for the floor test on certain scenarios when it is the ruling government is under threat. So in that scenario, the floor test takes place. And tomorrow, Apex Court will not. It is a place for floor test. Floor test is always based on assembly, and assembly is the platform where a party or any ruling government needs to go for floor test. So only now the scenario is whether Supreme Court will stay or put stay on the floor test tomorrow that has been called by the Governor Bhagat Singh Koshiyari, or they will give the verdict in favor of the government's decision or the directive, and accordingly the floor test happens tomorrow or not. That is to be seen. However, as I said, the scenario is almost indicating the political developments, the inputs, our experience over the last few days coverage, whatever developments has indicated us. It's almost certain. And as I repeatedly am saying, the statement that the CM has given in his cabinet meeting is almost like it is his last meeting. So tomorrow, if voting takes place, there is no chance. I've already said the numbers are not in favor of current Shiv Sena regime, as 39 MLAs are not with them, and only support of NCP and Congress, which is 44 MLAs right now, and NCP, if I'm not mistaken, 54 MLAs are of NCP, plus 44 of Congress, and 16 of Shiv Sena doesn't give the absolute majority figure in Maharashtra. That is 145, because it's a 288-member assembly. So 145 is the figure that the ruling government needs to achieve. But however, if only NCP and Congress votes in favor of Uddhav Thackeray and his government, that somewhere comes around 54. You can add on 54 plus 44 plus 16. So somewhere around 106 to 10. On the other hand, if opposition votes for against Uddhav Thackeray, only BJP itself is the largest party, having 106 MLAs, and you count another 39 from Shiv Sena camp, Rebel camp, and the independent MLAs, which constitutes almost 50 to 51 MLAs. So definitely the number is not with Uddhav Thackeray right now, often. So coming hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, there is no surprise if we see a resignation by Uddhav Thackeray.
Okay, Dibendra, I'm also keen to know how both the camp of Uddhav Thackeray and Shinde, they have prepared themselves to face the test tomorrow. Okay, well, viewers. Okay, viewers, since there is a technical issue, we will continue this later. However, I would like to mention that the governor who has directed the State Assembly Secretary to initiate the special session to test trust vote on Chief Minister Thackeray will be held tomorrow at 11 a.m. and will be telecasted live. Yes, amid heavy criticism for staying in a luxury hotel in flood-ravaged Assam, rebel Shiv Sena MLAs donated an amount of rupees 51 lakh towards Assam's flood relief work. The donation was made to Chief Minister's Relief Fund to help in the ongoing flood rescue operations. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma expressed gratitude to Shinde and his men for their generous contribution. It can be mentioned that Shinde and his camp left for Goa on Wednesday and will be flown to Mumbai on Thursday to partake in the floor test. The funeral of Kanhaiya Lal, the tailor from Rajasthan's Udaipur who was murdered by two men on Tuesday, was held in Udaipur Murder Update on Wednesday in the presence of a large number of people, including relatives and locals, amid a curfew in different parts of the city. Notably, several police personnel had been deployed during the funeral to ensure law and order. It may be mentioned that the funeral procession began from the tailor's residence in Sector 14 of Udaipur and went up to the Ashok Nagar funeral grounds. A large number of locals reached the funeral via bikes and cars, with some even carrying saffron flags and raising slogans in support of awarding the death penalty to the accused persons. Meanwhile, two persons accused of the murder, namely Gaus Muhammad and Muhammad Riyas Akhtari, have been arrested. It is to be mentioned that Lal was killed by the two men over a social media post in which the former had allegedly supported former Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson Nupur Sharma's remarks against Prophet Muhammad. In the brutal incident of the brutal murder of Kanhaiya Lal Teli in Udaipur, Rajasthan, the National Investigation Agency has registered a case on Wednesday. It is to be mentioned that the agency has re-registered the case under Indian Penal Code sections 452, 302, 153 clause A, 153 clause B, 295 clause A and 34 and Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967 under sections 16, 18 and 20 of against the accused who have conspired, planned and committed the heinous murder on Tuesday. Reportedly, the case has been initially registered as FIR number 81/2022 in the police station of Dhan Mandi district, Udaipur, pertaining to murder of Kanhaiya Lal Teli on 28 June by two accused who had inflicted multiple injuries to the victim with sharp weapons. The accused had also circulated a video of the criminal act in the social media, claiming responsibility for the murder in order to trigger panic and strike terror among the masses across the country. Meanwhile, teams of police, NIA, SIT, Forensic Science Laboratory Division and Anti-Terror Squad has reached and requisite action for expeditious investigation of case has already been initiated. After the GST Council has approved changes in the tax rates of some goods and services with a view to rationalizing the levy, a number of items are set to attract goods and services tax. Meanwhile, the decision has been taken by the GST Council, which was headed by Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and comprising representatives of all states and union territories in due-day meeting of the GST Council in Chandigarh. Here is a list of items and services that will attract GST, which I will be reading out for you all now. 1. Pre-packed and labelled meat except frozen, fish, curd, lassi, paneer, honey, dried leguminous vegetables, dried makhana, wheat and other cereals, wheat or messlin flour, jaggery, puffed rice, all goods and organic manure and coir peat compost will not be exempted from GST and will now attract a 5% tax. Secondly, the GST Council also recommended a correction to the inverted duty structure for a host of items including edible oil, coal, LED lamps, printing, drawing ink, finish leather and solar water heater. Thirdly, an 18% GST will be levied on fees charged by banks for the issue of checks, which includes loose or in book form. Maps and charts including atlases will attract a 12% levy. Goods that are unpacked, unlabeled and unbranded will continue to remain exempt from GST. Besides, a 12% tax on hotel rooms below Rs 1,000 per day will be levied as against a tax exemption currently. With regard to e-way bill on intrastate movement of gold jewelry and precious stones to check evasion, the Council recommended that states can decide on the threshold above which the electronic bill is to be made mandatory. Apart from this, the Council is likely to discuss on Wednesday a 28% on casinos, online gaming and horse racing. The Election Commission of India on Wednesday announced that the election for the office of Vice President will be held on August 6 and that the term of Vice President Venkaiah Naidu will end on August 10. Notably, the Election Commission held a meeting on Wednesday and finalized the schedule of Vice President's election, whereby the issue of nomination forms is scheduled to be on July 5. Last date for filing nominations will be on July 19. Date for scrutiny of nominations scheduled on July 20, while the last date for withdrawal of candidatures is set on July 22. And at last, the counting of votes will be held on August 6, 2022. It is to be mentioned that the Vice President is elected by the members of the Electoral College consisting of the members of both Houses of Parliament in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of the single transferable vote. It may also be mentioned that the Electoral College comprises of a total of 788 members of both Houses of Parliament. Since all the electors are members of both Houses of Parliament, the value of vote of each member of Parliament would be same. In the wake of Punjabi singer turned politician Sidhu Moosewala murder case, the Punjab police on Wednesday has arrested gangster Jagdeep Bhagwanpuria. It is to be mentioned that the arrest has been met with the permission of Delhi's Patiala House Court. Reportedly, the Delhi court has granted one-day transit remand of Jagdeep Bhagwanpuria to Punjab police in Sidhu Moosewala murder case. He will be produced before a local court in Punjab very soon. Expelled Bharatiya Janata Party leader Navin Kumar Jintal claimed that he received emails threatening him and his family to be killed. The threat emails came a day after Hindu tailor Kanhaiya Lal was killed by two Muslim men in Rajasthan's Udaipur district for supporting Nupur Sharma's controversial statements over Prophet Muhammad. Jintal claimed that he received 3 emails on Wednesday morning and a video of gruesome murder of Kanhaiya Lal was attached in the mails. Reportedly, Jintal informed the police about the threat emails and screenshots of those emails were also shared with the police. It is worth noting that Jintal, who was BJP's Delhi unit spokesperson, was expelled last month for supporting Nupur Sharma's controversial statements over Prophet Muhammad. Armed criminals on Wednesday robbed rupees 39 lakh in broad daylight from Indian Bank located in Bokaro district of Jharkhand. Reportedly, the number of robbers were 6, while some of them were masked. SP Bokaro said that the robbers have been identified and a necessary action has been taken. It is to be mentioned that the robbers captured guards on their gunpoint and then controlled the men sitting in the cash section. They also compelled them to open the strong room, and as the strong room was opened, they collected the cash and managed to escape. Meanwhile, the police started a probe into the incident. People have been killed in lightning strikes and thunderstorms across Bihar on Tuesday, upon which Chief Minister Nitish Kumar expressed grief and announced an ex gratia of rupees 4 lakh for the families of the victims. Kumar further appealed to the people to take precautions and follow the directions issued by the Disaster Management Department. Meanwhile, earlier on June 20, 17 people across Bihar died due to the same case. India on Tuesday defeated Ireland by 4 runs in the second and final T20I of the 2-match series at the Village in Dublin. Subsequently, the men in blue won the series 2-1. After winning the toss and electing to bat first, India lost the early wicket of Ishan Kishan. From there on, India went from strength to strength and racked up a massive score of 225 for 7 on the board. From there on, India went from strength to strength and racked up a massive score of 225 for 7 on the board. Huda also became the fourth Indian batter after Suresh Raina, KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma to notch centuries in T20s. Adhayar was the standout bowler for the Ireland as he accounted for 3 scouts. Joshua Little and Craig Young picked up 2 wickets apiece for the home team. Ireland started their run chase on an impressive note after Paul Stirling and skipper Andrew Balbuni put on 72 runs for the opening wicket of 5.4 overs. Bhuveshwar Kumar removed Tector, who scored 39 runs off 28 balls. George Dockrell played a quick-fire knock of 34 of 16, but his knock went in vain as Umran Malik kept Ireland from striking the ball and India defeated Ireland. England ODI and T20I captain Eoin Morgan on Tuesday, June 28, announced his retirement from international cricket. The Southpaw has helped the 3 Lions change the face of their cricket since their early exit in the 2015 World Cup. Morgan started his career playing for Ireland but later shifted to England and became one of their finest cricketers in the limited overs formats. In 16 tests, 248 ODIs and 115 T20Is, Morgan went on to score 700, 7,701 and 2,458 runs respectively, with 16 centuries and 64 half-centuries. The Dublin-born cricketer captained England in 126 ODIs and 72 T20Is. Under his leadership, England won 118 matches since August 2011, when Morgan captained the national team for the first time. Back in 2019, Morgan also captained England to glory in the 50-over World Cup at the Lord's Cricket Ground. Under Morgan, the Brits also qualified for the semi-final of T20 World Cup 2021, where they lost to Kane Williamson's New Zealand. Well, viewers, that's all we have in the bulletin. Keep watching Nagaland TV. So, Manu Lagavas.
New YY Dynamite